I'm going to do a quick beer review. Sorry about the lighting, it was really bright in here earlier and that's gone really dark, which makes me think I need to sort out my lighting. Tubedinoz, who this is a beer from, he's got great lighting, it's always sunny there, it's never sunny here in England anyway. This is the Motueka Smash beer. He did one that was at a 15-minute boil. I think it was 3 kilos of New Zealand pale malt and Motueka hops at different intervals. I can't remember the exact intervals, but I'll post it down in the thread below. And just a 15-minute boil, which pricked my interest because I thought, 15-minute boil would be great. He said he got the idea from me. I did the boil on the Columbus. That was a 30-minute boil. But this one was 15-minute boil, and I saw that Dan ABA did a 15-minute boil on a beer a while back, and that one didn't seem to come out so great. But I've had a bottle of this yesterday, and I'm going to crack another bottle now. It's only been probably a week and a half in the bottle, so it's not as carved as I'd like it to be. It's a little bit on the flat side. I've been carving my beers a little bit less lately, just because they've been coming out a bit too frothy. I've been kind of sorting them a bit more, just kind of sort of like hand pull style carbonation rather than too fizzy. Well, that one's come out with quite a big head on it actually. The one yesterday was a little bit flatter than that, but it's nice and clear. Really hoppy up front. You can really smell it. But there's a point I'm going to get to in a minute about my beers that I'm thinking about recently. But there's a real nice aroma on that. A real kind of fruity kind of, I don't know, it's got a bit of everything in there, like a bit of grapefruit, a little bit of orange. I'm going to go for a bit. It's really good. What's really good about it, it's got masses of hoppiness, but not a lot of bitterness. It's kind of, I think Tubedinoz says it was about 30 IBUs. It's real subtle on that, but the hop aroma and flavour is great. I mean, it was dry hopped as well with Motueka. I think nearly most of the pack, and there's a little bit left. And this was a 9.5 litre brew, I think, exactly the same as Tubedinoz. The only thing that was a bit odd, and I did message Tubedinoz about it, is that I followed the recipe exactly as his, and I think his one came out about 5%, mine came out about 6.5. So, but the strange thing is, it doesn't really taste 6.5, even though it is. It's a bit of could be a dangerous beer, but for a 15-minute boil and the beer to taste that good, it's really quite strange. And the head is actually a lot better on this one. I don't know whether the cap weren't quite as down on the last one, but the carbonation this one is much better, even for only a week in the bottle. But the last smash beer that I did was like the first one that I thought it was crap. I got to admit, I kind of thought, what's the point in smash beers? But I have to agree, hand on heart, Tubedinoz, I think he said it was one of the best beers that he'd done. For a smash beer, this is really tasty, and for a 15-minute boil, even better. You're saving, time, and time is kind of the hardest thing sometimes. The only thing I do find, and I found with my last two bitters and a stout that I did, and I'm not sure if it's a problem I'm getting, is, and I know you're meant to use Marisotto with bitters and stout and things like that, it's like the traditional thing to use, but even Tubedinoz, when he drank his one, he said he got a little bit of sweetness from the malt, and I think with Marisotto you get a little bit of that, for me, too much of it come through. And on the last kind of like plainish bitter I did, I've been using SO4 yeast, and I don't know if it's the yeast I don't like. I just kind of find it really bready and a bit funny, and I'm not sure if it's the yeast or the malt that I'm not liking. And I've only got about 3 kilos of my Marisotto left before I need my next lot, which I've already ordered. But instead of getting Marisotto, I've just ordered pale malt, because I'm starting to think that, although I do a few bitters and I do a lot more kind of pales and IPAs and things like that, I think the Marisotto kind of adds too much sweetness to it, and and I don't think I like it, and I think that's what I'm tasting. I'm not sure if it's not the SO4 that I don't like, it's just the malt in general, and I just think that's what's making my beers, to my palate, not taste how they should. I mean, other people try them, they say they're great and that, but I taste them and I think that's got that same sort of taste to it, that kind of, not an off flavour, but just a taste that I'm not liking. But this one is a lot better. It's a lot better. Or maybe I can't brew a bitter, I don't know, but this one is right up there. But there is kind of that, just in the background, a little bit of sweetness, and I think it's coming from just using all Marisol. I just wonder if it was just a simple pale malt, if it would make it any better. But that is a lovely beer. It really is. It's a summer beer. It really does go down well. I'm really pleased actually, this one in this glass, and it seems to have carbonated a lot better than the last one I had. The one I opened up yesterday, I just got back from holiday and I thought, I wonder what that beer's tasting like, and I opened it up and it was good, but the carbonation just weren't there, and I thought, oh, that's disappointing. It's just not, this bottle seems to be a lot better. I can't believe that a 15-minute boil can give you a decent amount of bitterness and a decent amount of hop profile in there. It just doesn't seem right. But then I guess it just dispels that. I don't know. Does it work with just Smash, or I might have to test the theory on what other beers it works with. But this could be kind of one of the house beers that I brew, I think, because for 15 minutes in the boil, well, I've got to hand it to Tubedinoz. This is a great beer. And talking of Tubedinoz, I keep seeing GF Fryer, and the name's gone right out of my head. I do apologise. Another chap's just recreated the recipe as well of the zombie dust clone. I think I'm going to give that a crack next. I think, because it's after Tubedinoz did the Columbus Brown, it's only right to see what it's like. I think it'd be a good one to brew up. But this one is fantastic. I'm going to put the link down to this in my video, because I think this recipe, the simplicity of it as well, I did exactly as Tubedinoz I did brew in the bag, but I think Tubedinoz does it in his pot with like an insulation thing around it. I did mine in my my cooler box mash tun, but just put the bag in that. It's the same sort of thing. It's just whatever holds the temperature for you best. And a lot of people out there, I think like GI Fryer, we're worrying about doing all grain and that. It's the same thing. If you've got a way to kind of keep that amount of grain warm for that amount of time, brewing the bag, it's the same thing. There ain't no real difference. It's not like it's not a halfway house. You're all grain brewing at that point, so it don't matter. But that is a sound recipe. I'm really pleased with that. That's one other thing I wanted to touch on, was with the hop pellets. I find it's really hard to filter out all the muck. What I did was, and I think Tubedinoz does a similar thing, is to put the grain bag over the sieve and then kind of drain into that. But after a while it does kind of get a little bit clogged up in that. But to be honest, in the end a lot of muck went in, and the first point in the little fermenting vessel I've got, it looked like kind of like 60-40 between beer and kind of just crap. And then, to be honest, halfway through fermenting, it really settled down to just kind of about 1.5 inches of like trube at the bottom. So it just makes you wonder, if you tip the whole lot in, would it matter, or do you really need to sieve it out? I really don't know, but it produced a really nice beer. So hats off to Tubedinoz. Cheers, mate.